Airkairenza Kushtarbek is a Kyrgyz woman who has 5 children and is married, but her husband works in Russia.
My husband lives there. It's hard, but what can I do? That's life.
Airkairenza lives in Kshtut, a village in southern Kyrgyzstan. In the winter, the sun is hidden behind the mountains for months, as if it couldn't stand the inhabitants' poverty. That poverty forces hundreds of thousands of men to work abroad. Women have to raise their children on their own and care for the elderly as well.
The Kushtarbek family's farmyard. 12-year-old Aikus helps with the housekeeping. The oven has to be heated. Flour for bread dough costs money, which Airkairenza's husband sends. He works thousands of kilometers away in Russia.
If my husband came back, who'd help us? Who'd give us money? We have to finish renovating the house. My son still has to study.
Her husband has lived with their eldest daughter in Yekaterinburg for 8 years. Airkairenza also worked there for a time. The fact that she has to take care of the family on her own in the village has made her more self-reliant.
How can this be good? Nothing about it is good. If only everything were normal, if we lived together. The children are already grown. How many years have they spent without their father? They only talk on the phone with him. They miss him.
That's especially true in the long winter months. Temperatures can fall to 10 below 0 Celsius. Wood is used for heating. Duletbek, her eldest son, doesn't talk much.
I envy some families. Their children aren't as shy as mine. If you tell them to dance, they dance.
At 35, she's married, but a single mother. She lives with the pressure of having to do the right thing as a parent. And the children often ask after their father.
They don't ask just now and then, but every day. My boy is already big. The girls aren't yet, but they all ask, when's Papa coming? At New Year's or not? He should come back and live here. The children think we'd be able to live without money.
But Airkairenza is a realist.
If he came back to us, who'd help us then? I don't think we'd starve if he came. It's hard to live here. There's no work. The market is far away. We have nothing to sell.
The oven has to be really hot before they can bake their bread, and that takes time.
Tell me when it's hot enough.
Every day she tries to see her husband on the internet, often in vain.
No connection.
The connection is weak because they're surrounded by mountains. When she can get a video connection, Airkairenza shows her husband the children as well. Her husband works as a caretaker. In Russia, he earns much more than he can in Kyrgyzstan. Like him, many relatives and neighbors have moved to Russia. Back inside, her 64-year-old mother-in-law, Razia, is pursuing her favorite activity, embroidery. That helps her earn a little extra money. She can't live on her pension alone, and she can't help with the housekeeping as much as she used to. Her legs hurt. She hopes her son and granddaughter will return soon.
They won't stay in Russia. They'll come back and take care of me.
She's less worried about money than that all her relatives will leave the village and she'll be here alone.
Yürekte turgan söyüm anık bolup yüreğimin kündeylanıp kalbır bolup
7-month-old IBQ needs changing.
Спит.
She has to sleep now.
Вот.
So let's get ready.
Готовимся. Baba.
Many families in the village have 5 or more children. They're a way of providing for their old age. The baby is swaddled in cloth according to age-old tradition, and a small wooden drainage pipe keeps her dry. Nappies are too expensive. They eat when they're all together. They make everything themselves: bread, vegetable hot pot, stewed fruit, tea. Without a father in this patriarchal Islam-influenced society, 15-year-old Dolet Bek has to act as man of the house.
When we still lived together with Papa, we went hunting in the mountains and worked in the fields. We did everything together.
After the meal, the boys take care of the cows as their father used to. The children talk about what it would be like to live in Russia.
Не знаю.
I don't know.
Но
But it's good to live together,
вместе жить очень
whether in
хорошо.
Russia or here.
Или туда, или здесь.
Airkairenza goes shopping. When her eldest daughter visits her, they shop together.
Пусть она учится
I
там.
want my daughter to study in Yekaterinburg and get a Russian passport, if they'll give her one.
Если дают.
School is good there, and there's work.
Учится хорошо. Работа есть еще. А здесь
There's nothing here,
все
just the mountains, and we sit around.
сидим.
In the village, she meets her friend Zulfia Manzurova, whose husband also works in Russia, like so many men from the surrounding villages. Today, they're going shopping together. The shopkeeper weighs out rice for her, asking how many kilos she needs. Then she rounds it up, giving her a bit more. Airkairenza and Zulfia leave the shop. Airkairenza remarks on how cold it is and says she's going home. Zulfia invites her to come over and drink a cup of tea with her and her family before she does. Zulfia's husband went to work in Russia 6 months ago. She has 6 children. She earns some money with her washing machine, but it's not enough to feed her family.
I need money. We have to pay off a loan. Every quarter we have to pay 13,000 som, about 200 euros. Right now everything's good and normal. 4 of my children live in town and go to school there. Everything's fine with us. We can't complain.
Не жалуюсь.
Zulfia and Airkairenza aren't isolated cases. Like their husbands, 800,000 Kyrgyz men work in Russia and send the equivalent of 2 billion euros a year back home. It's the country's most important source of income. Half the people in this valley live in poverty. After Airkairenza has taken her purchases home, she prepares the baby for a stroll. She remembers when she had her first child shortly after she married at 18 and moved in with her husband.
Back then, I hoped we'd be happy. When you're young, that's how you think. I wanted to study more. That didn't happen. I had my elder daughter.
The next morning she travels to Batken, the nearest town. The trip takes more than 2 hours. She wants to buy winter clothes for her baby at the Bazaar. The Bazaar is the only place far and wide where people from the surrounding villages can buy fabric, clothing and shoes. She has to do that alone now for the whole family. She compares prices. Things have to be cheap and she can't carry heavy loads now.
My husband and I used to come here in our car and buy food and other things. Now it's harder with the baby. We come here by bus. I have to carry the food to the bus, which is full of people. I can't get there too late. The bus doesn't wait.
In the end, she finds what she was looking for and sets out for home again. Today, she's in a good mood, partly because her husband has promised to visit over the new year.